moments of history today. Barcelona and Atletico Madrid have never been drawn together in UEFA competition. They have now. Semi-final pending, quarter-final means that these two being drawn together, one Spanish club is guaranteed to be in the last four, and I think personally Real Madrid are also, given the debilitating nature of Borussia Dortmund's injury suspension. The second part of history is that this is definitely Victor Valdes's last press conference leading up to a La Liga Clásico. He's been here since he was 14-15. He's been here long enough to welcome Andres Iniesta to the old Messiah next to the Camp Nou, and Iniesta was a tiny little kid crying his eyes out. He needed somebody to look after him. He was there extra young, aged only 11, and Victor Valdés was that guy. Victor Valdés forced his way into the squad under Van Gaal and fought long and hard against the prejudices which Barcelona goalkeepers always seem to have to suffer. Underappreciated, and this guy has been an absolute great. The fact that Barcelona have been in a net victorious run against Real Madrid over the last decade has got a great deal to do with his saves, but he's said he's going elsewhere, and therefore today, rather than the questions pinpointing only the game, there were questions about will you miss it, and for example about Iker, and he talked about Iker having somebody who'd earned his respect, not only for the years of opposition, but the way in which Iker Casillas is holding on to his situation at Real Madrid despite having been dropped. Moreover, he talked about the bravery and the ambition and the intensity that you need to have as a Barca player to go to the Bernabeu and win when they need to do, remember, because there's a 4-point gap, 4 very big points. If Barca lose this, I think that's the league. Valdés also talked about, is he living this last year at Barcelona with more intensity? And he said that he probably is, that every so often, although he tries to force it out, the idea about this is my last moment doing this, that or the next thing comes into his head. So unless they draw each other later in the Champions League, if they both progress, this is his last build-up to a Bernabeu game as a Barcelona player. He talked about would he like to go to the Premier League, and he said to my friend and colleague from Zoom Sports, Duncan McMath, he said, I've always followed the Premier League. It isn't just now. What I want to do is I want to get this season finished. I don't want to talk about my destination at all, but I've always admired the Premier League. There was a hint there, absolutely for sure a hint there. And one of his final points was to say that he admired Gareth Bale's progression at Real Madrid as a footballer, not necessarily as a Real Madrid player, but that he knows, having seen foreigners come to Barcelona year in, year out, how difficult it is to cope, how difficult it is to adapt, and when you come, as Bale did, carrying injury problems, a lack of pre-season, he said he's gone from struggling a little bit at the start to flying right now. He said, we're now seeing the Gareth Bale we were accustomed to seeing at Spurs, and he said anybody who's good enough to take a few free kicks off Cristiano Ronaldo isn't doing too badly. Nice to finish on a happy, confident, smiling note with Victor Valdés. I'll tell you something for nothing. During my 12 years here, he has been the most underrated cornerstone of Barcelona's success. The perfect Barcelona goalkeeper. It's been nice working with you too. See ya.